Hello, Mrs. Bush. Could you tell us about your husband's days at Yale and then on to vice president and then president?
In 1943, George was in the Navy. In 1945, he enrolled at Yale University the year we married. We had 6 children, 4 boys and 2 girls. Our daughter, Robin, died of leukemia at age 3. Our 4 boys are named George, John, Neil, and Marvin. Our daughter is named Dorothy. In 1966, George was the first Republican to win a House seat in Harris County, Texas. In 1971, President Richard Nixon appointed him to be a UN representative. In 1977, George decided that he wanted to run for president himself. In 1980, he went up against Ronald Reagan for the Republican nomination. He lost this, but Reagan thought he had good political strategies. He asked him to be his running mate. George was vice president under Ronald Reagan for 8 years. He then ran in 1988 against Michael Dukakis for president, and he won. He's been president for 4 years, and he's made this country a better place. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bush. This is Christy Richards, George Bush's campaign manager. Mrs. Richards, why do you think George Bush is the best choice for president?
The President of the United States is one of the most important positions in a free nation today, but the people are even more important. The people run this country. This is why they must vote for the person they think is most qualified for the president. That person is George Bush. He's run this country for 4 years already, and he's only improved it. He won the Gulf War, and he let the unemployment extension go through, which helped a lot of people. The biggest advantage George Bush has over Ross Perot and Bill Clinton is experience. George Bush was a vice president for 8 years, and as you all know, a president for 4. That is only his presidential background. To say that George Bush is familiar with the responsibilities the president has is an understatement. Yet George Bush is the best choice for president. Bill Clinton and Ross Perot have no concept of the responsibilities the president must take on. George Bush is the most responsible, caring, and hardworking person I know. Let his qualities work for you.
Thank you, Mrs. Richards. This is Mrs. Quayle, Dan Quayle's wife. Mrs. Quayle, could you tell us about your husband's life and achievements and why you think he'd be the best choice for vice president?
My husband graduated from Huntington High School in 1965. Dan earned a BA at DePaul University and in 1974 a law degree at the Indiana University School of Law. My husband then served in the National Guard and was the associate publisher of the Huntington Herald Press. It's easy to see from the credentials I just listed why he's the best candidate for vice president. Dan not only has an enriched education from the highest ranking and most prestigious schools, but he has experience working for you, the people, and listening to what you say, and taking those thoughts and ideas and turning them into actions. Dan not only is a successful businessman and politician, but also a parent, the father of our 3 children. He understands the financial burdens of family life that almost all Americans experience today. Dan knows from experience how to get the American people's votes, and that's from honesty. To honestly prove to the American people, as he has, over and over again, that he is the best choice for vice president. Dan understands your problems and will work his hardest to ensure the American people of a stable life where hard work pays off.
Thank you, Mrs. Quayle. This is Carrie Sosnowski, Ross Perot's press secretary. Mrs. Sosnowski, could you tell us a little bit about Ross Perot's background?
Ross Perot came from Texas. He has a lot of business background, such as in the EDA, or Electronic Data System Corporation. This company does data processing. Ross Perot started this company himself with a borrowed $1,000. At one time, 2 of Ross Perot's employees were taken hostage in Iraq. Ross Perot had to hire private services to go in and save them. Ross Perot was also involved in trying to get prisoners out of Vietnam. Ross Perot is the sole owner of Petrus Oil and Gas Company. It took Ross Perot a long time to work his way up to this point in business because he wasn't always rich, but he kept at it and now he's a billionaire. Ross Perot will put all his effort into this country to turn it around. Ross Perot is definitely the most qualified man for being President of the United States.
Thank you, Mrs. Sosnowski. We're now ready to start the 1992 Will Smith Meet the Candidates program. Here are some of the other guests that will be joining us today.
Hello, and thank you once again for coming to the 1992 Will Smith Meet the Candidates program. With us today are a few honored guests. From left to right, Mrs. Hillary Clinton. Mr. Noah Levitt, Governor Clinton's campaign manager. Mrs. Tipper Gore. Mrs. Barbara Bush, Ms. Christy Richards, President Bush's campaign manager, Mrs. Marilyn Quill, and Ms. Carrie Sosnowski, Ross Perot's press secretary. Themselves.
Hi, I'm Governor Bill Clinton.
Hi, I'm Senator Al Gore.
Hello, I'm George Bush.
Hi, I'm Vice President Dan Quayle.
Hi, I'm Ross Perot.
Hello, I'm Admiral James Stockdale.
Now our moderators would like to introduce themselves.
Dan Rather. Senator Edward Kennedy.
Garrett Harbedian.
Walter Cronkite. And I'm Tom Brokaw.
Now the questions for our candidates will begin with Senator Kennedy.
Governor Clinton, how do you plan to reform education if you reach office? My education program begins with a comprehensive preschool program for every child who needs it and fully funding Head Start. It also includes training young people for high-wage jobs, not dead-end ones. We will have a national apprenticeship program to train non-college-bound kids valuable skills that will, with the promise of a real job. As president, I will ask Congress to establish a trust fund out of which any American can borrow money for college education as long as they pay it back with a small percentage of their income or over time with a couple of years of national service, doing work our country desperately needs. Many healthcare costs are skyrocketing. Many people can't afford it. What will you do with healthcare if you reach office? I will deliver quality healthcare that is affordable for all. We could do that with the money we're already spending. If we had the courage to demand insurance reform and slash healthcare bureaucracies. We must stop drug prices from going up 3 times inflation. We don't need to reduce the quality of healthcare. We need to restructure the system, and no one has done it without a government that took charge. Senator Gore, if elected, how do you think Governor Clinton will help the economic problem?
Clinton wants to put the U.S. back to work. For the last 4 years, we have gone with the least amount of jobs in America. He will put the economic opportunity into the hands of American people to help the poor, helping the poor to work their way out of poverty. We'll make work pay by expanding the earned income tax credit to work for the poor and by supporting plans to give low-income entrepreneurs the tools to start new business. Bush has, however, moved jobs to Latin America. That has helped people in Latin America with their jobs, but we're still decreasing here.
Thank you.
This question is for the President. President Bush, how do you plan to improve America and its economy?
I'd like to start off by saying there will be no raising taxes. We can get out of debt without that. I will help the low or uninsured pay for health insurance, and we will create jobs with free trade and my economic sanctions. All if you re-elect my running mate, Dan Quayle, and I, George Bush. Now I want to talk about one of my rivals, Governor Clinton. I don't believe Governor Clinton would be a good president. He brags about his balanced budget in Arkansas. But that's a law in that state to have a balanced budget. Another thing is Governor Clinton wants to raise taxes. Now, if you do that to small and failing businesses, they'll go out of business, leaving those people out of jobs. That's not going to help the economy, is it?
If re-elected, by how much would you like to cut the defense budget?
I would reduce spending by $50 billion more than the Pentagon's plan from 1997. We would end up with 1.6 million troops and $1.4 trillion in defense spending over the next 5 years.
Should the U.S. intervene militarily in what was Yugoslavia?
We were unwilling to send ground troops, but air and sea help was offered to assist in humanitarian aid. I also pressed the United Nations to authorize multinational military force. Any other questions?
Yes. How do you stand on abortion?
I oppose abortion in most cases, except if rape, incest, or to save the life of a mother.
Thank you. Vice President Quayle, why do you think that you and President Bush should be re-elected?
We should be re-elected because we have the experience and we are the best choice for the American people. We have plans to create new jobs, lower taxes, control healthcare costs, and balance the budget and open a free trade agreement with Mexico that will create more American jobs. If we are re-elected and Congress passes the bills that are proposed, we can turn this country around.
Thank you. That is all.
Mr. Perot, would you raise taxes to reduce the deficit and pay for programs?
First, I would like to start out by mentioning some things about the taxes. The American people's taxes make up a big part of what the people are concerned with. We would have to raise the taxes if we're hoping to get anything done. No one can run a good term without raising taxes. Even if they say something like, read my lips, no new taxes, you can see where that led. In my plan, we would require a 2% increase in taxes, or a 4% if necessary. We would impose a 10-cent a year gas tax to increase over a period of 4 to 5 years, and increase taxes on Social Security and cigarettes. My tax plan is small compared to the 5% increase proposed by Bill Clinton.
Mr. Perot, your words on the subject of healthcare costs.
Well, we've got the most expensive healthcare system in the world. It ranks behind 15 other nations in life expectancy and 22 nations when it comes to infant mortality. So we don't have the best. But if you're paying the most, then you want to have the best. So why not copy the people that are paying less? We can do better than that. But if you want to keep the music going, stay traditional this time, and in 4 more years, you'll have everybody blaming everybody else for a bad healthcare system. Talk is cheap, words are plentiful, deeds are precious. Let's get on with it.
How will you use your powers of presidency to get people into jobs immediately?
First, the American people have to send me up there. The day after the election, I'll get together with the congressional, and I'll ask the president and his staff to help me put together teams to put together all the plans that exist and do something with them. The first thing we have to do is clean up the small businesses. Then we've got to get a task force to get the big companies that are having trouble, including the defense industries, and have another task force. Work on new industries for the future and nail those for our country to make sure they don't end up in Europe or Asia. Well, obviously, my orientation is, let's go do it. Now put together your plans by Christmas and be ready to go when Congress goes, and we can create more jobs here in a hurry than in any other place.
Thank you, Mr. Perot. Admiral Stockdale, tell us why America should choose Ross Perot for president.
America should choose Ross Perot for president because he's honest, trustworthy, and devoted to making America better. He is a good leader and businessman. Ross Perot knows how to make money, how to save money, and how to spend money wisely. He is the candidate that can make this country better. I support Mr. Perot and all of his ideas 100%.
Most of your plans are about balancing the budget. Why is this?
Well, Mr. Perot and I talk a lot about balancing the budget because it is important. If we balance the budget, then the national debt won't grow. We won't have to borrow money. And then we can open new factories, make more products in America, and create new jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Admiral Stockdale.
This concludes the 1992 Will Smith Meet the Candidates program. I'd like to thank you all for coming, and if the candidates would please rise, we'll give them all a big hand.
Mrs. Gore, do you feel you should spend more time with your children? Yes, I do. My children are people too, and they should not be ignored during this campaign. I feel I should spend a lot of time with them since their father is away. I have 4 children at home from the ages of 9 to 18, and I feel I should protect them against any insecurities they might have.
Thank you, Ms. Gore. Mr. Levitt, why should Clinton be elected as the next president of the U.S.?
This country needs change. We have a $4 trillion deficit, and unemployment is up. Let's see. The people want to go back to work and start moving this country forward again to where they deserve it to be. Bill Clinton can make this country the way you, the people, want it. With your help, he will make us the best in the world once again. Just look what he's done to Arkansas. He took one of the poorest states in the country and made it #1 in job growth in the private sector. I don't think anyone wouldn't like that if you did that to the entire country. He'll rebuild the infrastructure and make the healthcare system the way the people want it. Bill Clinton is obviously the best choice for president.
Thank you, Mr. Levitt. Mrs. Clinton, what have you accomplished between the time you graduated and the time you began campaigning?
I went to Yale Law School, that's where I met Governor Clinton, and graduated in 1972. I worked on the Children's Defense Fund and on the Nixon impeachment inquiry. I moved to Arkansas in '74 and met with Bill again. We got married not long after. By 1987, I was working at the Little Rock Rose Law Firm, and proving just how significant Arkansas is, I had become one of the nation's most powerful attorneys. I was making most of the family's money now, too, to allow Bill time to fulfill his public service dreams. In 1989, Mrs. Bush praised my efforts for helping children in her book, although now she says that I'm out to destroy the traditional family. Bill and I both helped bring to Arkansas a program called HIPPY. It stands for Home Instruction Program for Preschool Youngsters. It's a nonprofit organization designed to help undereducated mothers prepare the children for school.
Thank you, Ms. Clinton. And this concludes our presentation from Will Smith. Thank you for watching.